Hello, traders. Welcome back to another market recap for Tuesday, February 4, 2025. This is a daily chart of the SPY. If we can point out a few things right now, they closed above the high of yesterday. They pretty much filled the gap. The close of this day here, Friday last week, was 601.82. They got to a high today of 602.30. So they filled that gap. We can't forget about our trend lines. So let's put them on the board to see what they did with the trend lines today because they still were important. So they got kind of above, but they messed around with them today a lot. If we look at a smaller time frame, like this 10-minute chart here, you can see once they got up to the trend lines, both the upper and lower ones where they converged here, they were important all day long. And something also interesting, look at where they closed today. It was exactly the same. Let's get rid of the trend lines just to clean this up a little bit. So this is the close thereabouts of last Wednesday. So the close was 601.77, the exact same to the penny on Friday last week and today. Now, there's been some days above and below it, but I find that interesting. I did mention last week that 601 and thereabouts was currently important. It still is, but really, on the daily chart, we can't discount the fact that they're acting bullish. So that's where we stand right now. Bullish until proven otherwise. This morning, this was the game plan that was sent out and the levels. You can read through this. Pause the video if you need to get an idea of what we were working with before we went into the day. This was sent out before the opening bell, 8:59 a.m. Eastern. And here's our levels after the closing bell, currently 8:11 p.m. So I'm going to zoom in a little here because all we really need to look at is in detail is this section here. After the trades, if you're playing by the rules, after those trades were satisfied, there's really nothing after this point. So after letting the market settle in for 15 minutes, they were right here, coming back down into this level, 597.77. You want to add that 5-cent buffer, it'd be 597.82. But after 9:45, they never hit it. So they hit it here. They kind of launched off of it, never got back to it. So this really was no trade per the rules, unless you got in there a little early. They went up to this trend line. I'm not going to adjust it. There's really no adjustment needed on this trend line. Essentially, they hit the level. You would have gone short there. So if you went short at the first trend line, they pulled back, not enough to give you a base hit of 4 points in the E-minis, but not enough for a near miss either. They went up to the next trend line, the higher one, and that combined position would have given you a base hit. That's actually what I did. I took more than a base hit. We'll watch the video of that shortly. And so the short trades are off the table for any future trades at this trend line or these trend lines, but they got above and enough time went by before they came back down. Same thing here. You would have bought for a recycle trade when they got into this top trend line. They didn't really hit the bottom one. Now, when you're trading these trend lines, at least the way I do it, I just put a limit order on the E-mini chart in the kind of vicinity, within a tick or two. You may have gotten filled here. We're not going to count this. We're going to say that's one base hit there for a bounce off the top of this trend line for a recycle trade. Then, as I mentioned, after this, you're not going to mess with this, although it's an important area. And so they bounce off this. You just don't know what they're going to do. I mean, would you want to take another long trade here? Say you're out of the money. How would you have felt about that? So I just want to like to take the trade long side or the short side the first time the level or the zone or the trend line in this case is hit. The first hit is the best hit, generally speaking. Here is a recording of the trades that I took. Notice the time right after the market opens. And they got above this level, give them some time. After 15 minutes, as you already know, they did not hit the level. So you'll see me make this level dotted. I had an order to go ahead and buy at 597.80. I just kind of rounded it to the next round number there. But even so, even with a 5-cent buffer, it still would not have filled that trade. So at this point, I'm considering this done. That's why this level went dotted. That's my little indication. And so then I put limit orders on the E-mini chart. You can see them over here on the right side. So I took went short with 2 contracts, waiting for, I guess this is 6 points here. Didn't get filled here, and you would not have got filled with a 4-point base hit either if that was your profit target. But no big deal. They went up to the next trend line or thereabouts. I think I got filled a little early there, close to it. So now I'm short 4. I moved it to here. It was, I can't remember exactly. It's in the tracking log. The equivalent of however many points that is, 13.25 on the 4 points. And that worked out pretty well because once they gave me this base hit, you can call it, they didn't get much lower, at least for the time being in the morning. There we go. So that was in the bag. And when they got above, I didn't trade the recycle. That would have been right there. And I just let this thing go. In fact, I didn't look at anything for the rest of the day. Just let this recording go until 4 o'clock. Over on the tracking log, the first one, the playing by the rules log, if you're treating every single level the same way, you would have traded 2 contracts at each of these levels. That's how we're tracking this, at least for the rate of return. And that's where you would have landed. And this $12,450 is pretty much everything this year, including January, of course. And then on my trades, the Sam's trades, so with that 4 contract position, netted 6.63 points. That was the averaged in total for $13.25 before commissions. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. I'll talk to you in the next recap video. Have a great day.